The Nikki Glaser Podcast. The Nikki Glaser Podcast.
Here's Nikki. Hello, welcome to the show. It's the Nikki Glaser Podcast. Here I am. It's Nikki Glaser. I am in St. Louis. With us is Noah,
Hi.
Sean, and Brian. What's up, core team?
Hola.
Looking
Hola.
good in black, Nikki.
Looking good in black. I don't know. The girls' chat is popping off about colors and what skin tone you should have and what colors are right. One more thing to add to the list as being a woman
you
that
crazy.
you need to worry about. I'm like, why am I inviting this into my life? I'm not doing it. I keep fighting. Everyone's like, you know, we have to drape all these fabrics across us to find which yellow is right. And I'm like, how about it always changes based on your spray tan or if you're wearing makeup. And also, I don't care. So what happens if I wear the right color? I guess people are nicer to me. People like me more. I don't know what it gets you in life. You look prettier. I just saw a TikTok about how none of us are supposed to know what we look like because there were no mirrors invented until, you know, I don't even know when mirrors were invented. You would only see your reflection.
You have to look
You would
in
only see
rivers.
reflection in water.
Yeah.
And we all know what that looks like. It's blurry. You can't see. You would never know what you look like, and therefore you would never be able to compare your looks to anyone else's. So there was nothing even to compare to. Like, you didn't know what you were, so no one had
They had
like
iPhones.
Yeah. No, but like when you would look into a pond, you like look into a pond and you're like, I'm hideous.
I'm rippled as hell, dude.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. Everyone just thought they were disgusting.
Except for Narcissus, who was the ultimate look into the
right.
pond guy. He was the first guy to ever look into the pond.
Well,
in
yeah,
fact.
he was the first one, and he couldn't stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think he's real?
Yeah.
Narcissus, he's still alive. He's on Suits LA.
I just don't understand. Yeah, like I just don't want another thing to worry about. I just can't. I can't handle it.
Yeah.
But it's But yeah, it's.
I
I'm
mean,
also,
between the war in Gaza and Trump and the yellow colors, it's like,
and what
how
colors
much-
do we have match your skin tone? I
it's
just
like
can't.
how much can we have on our plate right now?
And like worrying about this Oscars weekend and like everyone being
Yeah.
like best dressed and this is the best and this one looked really bad on her and all these think pieces afterwards about who really brought it with fashion. Who fucking cares, y'all? Like
Tell me about it.
I can't even. I know this is like to be like fashion's dumb and like it doesn't mean anything because I know it's art and I just can't even believe we're still talking about, like, I was really disappointed in what Timothée Chalamet wore. You know, I can't even tell if it's a joke or not. If he's trying to make a statement, it's cool. But if he's just trying to challenge us, not cool. It's like, why do we care? Like,
Yeah.
who cares?
You should only care when somebody's like really going for it. Like, you know, like with Bjork and the Swan or like the
Yes.
South Park guys wearing J-Lo's dress. Like the fact that
Jeremy
Timothy
Strong.
Yeah, you should. We should make jokes about it. Like I like
Yeah.
hearing that he looks like a stick of butter, or that he looks like a highlighter pen, or he looks like he's wearing the suit from Taylor Swift's music video. I like.
Well,
making
Conan made fun of
things.
Chalamet, didn't he? What did he say?
Yeah,
about?
he said you're definitely not going to get hit on a bike on the way home.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. But like, don't talk to. I don't want to hear fashion people talking about like the choice he made and if it was right or not. And it's like that is not taking fashion seriously. It's not really interesting to me. But you know what? I'm in one of those moods today where I think
Yeah.
I'm just like I didn't.
You're a
sleep.
hater.
I didn't
This-
sleep for 27 hours between
Damn.
That's insane.
landing in LA on Sunday
Because
and then
you had your arm caught between two rocks in Utah.
yeah.
That's what it feels like doing Kelly and Mark. No, I'd love to get my arms stuck between those two. But no, I landed from Vancouver. We landed at like 11 in the morning, Sean. So I slept a
Yeah.
little bit on the plane, and then that night after 2 shows in Vancouver, I think I had 2.5 hours of sleep. Slept another 3 hours on the plane. So coming off of 5 hours of sleep, and then went into Oscars getting hair and makeup and then doing a fitting because I had to do Kelly and Mark the next day, fitting for that, and then jumping right into my Oscars look, headed to the dinner, going to the 3 parties afterwards, and then going into hair and makeup at 3, or going to bed watching White Lotus because I was still like up when we got home from the parties, and then we got home at probably midnight. Watched White Lotus, in bed by 1.
Yep.
And then I had to be up at 3 to get hair and makeup for Kelly and Mark. And then after Kelly and Mark, I didn't have time to I had 3 hours between that ending and getting picked up for the airport. And I was just like, well, I don't really have time to take a nap. But so then I just went to the airport, and then I had a fucking connecting flight. All I wanted, I was so excited to get on a direct flight. And I'm not joking you, when I saw that it was a connecting flight, I started crying. I couldn't handle it. and one of the seats was an aisle, which I can't sleep in. So I was just oh my God. But at least I had a layover in Dallas where they have an American lounge. And so I just got to sit, and I love days traveling home when I'm alone. It's the best day of my life. I love traveling alone. I love not having to talk to anyone. I love looking disgusting, dressing disgusting, having kind of people not really talk to you. I love that the airport code is no one talks to each other.
Yeah.
Unless you're at the bar.
Yeah, which I would never be,
Yeah.
No, but you could also anytime someone tries to talk to you, you can just be cold, and no one could get mad at you because everyone's oh yes, people are dealing with their own shit at the airport.
Yeah, and I'm unrecognizable, I feel, so I just can get away with. But no one even tries to talk to me. I mean, maybe they do when I'm noise canceling headphones, so I don't hear them. But I just, I love it. I love a day of autonomy. No one can get you. No one's with you to I love people being with me, and I do not always love being alone, but it feels like when you're at an airport, you're not alone. I hate being at my apartment alone. Fuck that. I literally landed and went right to my parents' house and spent the night there. I spent the night at my parents' last week too. I don't want to be at my place alone at all. Chris is out of town right now. So but
there's a key factor to the airport thing, which is also that you're not doing this yourself. If you chose to have a retreat where no one could access you, and you went to
it's being forced on me. I have to do it.
Yeah, so when you're on, there's no one to pressure you to do anything because you're forced to do this for work. So sorry, I'm at the airport.
There's no sightseeing. There's no I don't have to do anything while I'm at the airport. There's no exhibits to go look at or
Sometimes there's an exhibit.
Activities to engage in. It is just you get to sit and go to Starbucks and walk to your gate. And
I was going to ask.
I love nothing.
I was going to ask if you spoil yourself at the airport, because whenever I travel, I'm always well, I can get any snack or any drink I want, no matter the cost, because I'm traveling today.
Oh, cost? Yes. I don't think about cost at all. And I generally, even when I couldn't afford, an $8 protein bar, I still was well, there's nothing else to do. They have a monopoly, so everything. What am I not gonna eat it? So I do treat myself, but not in terms of I'm gonna be bad and have bad stuff, because I'm sedentary all day. So I also feel bad about that.
And also, you fly so much that if you got involved with some bad stuff, it would be every day you'd be eating.
It's 2 days a week. I am eating like shit.
True.
But I like being alone in an airport as well, because there's a hustle and bustle happening. It's why I enjoyed living in New York.
Yes.
Is I never felt alone, but I hate being in LA because it gets quiet, and then I'm alone.
I love a hustle and a bustle around me, because I can almost feed off of it and feel as if I am working on that Excel spreadsheet next to me, or I am. There's company, but it's not that you have to be active with. It's a mall vibe that you never get anymore, because we don't go to malls.
No,
it's a mall mixed with a coffee shop.
And you don't talk to anyone. You literally, no one makes eye contact. No one is mingling at the airport. It's awesome.
No, that's what I kind of love about
it's New York.
New York and the airport is, if someone murders you, there will be people to stop it.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I think that's why I like it. I think it's like New York. It's the same vibe of it's why I go to Starbucks to get work done, because I just need people around. I need to feel like it's that if there's a murder, someone's there to witness it. Well, that's really it, because they're not going to do anything, as we know from bystander effect. But
I've said this before, but LA, if you're walking around late at night in LA, it's very frequent that There will be just one guy who looks kind of creepy or whatever.
The murderer. Yeah.
And it's just him. And it's just you and him. And it really is. A, he only has one choice of victim. It's you. And B, there's no one to save you.
God, every time I go outside at night and I'm like on an edible, I am freaking out. I am like, someone is gonna murder me. That's just how I'm living my life.
Yeah.
Am I getting anything out of this weed? No, I'm not.
No,
I'm not enjoying
no.
it. I'm just viewing myself as a future victim, even though no one who looks like me ever gets murdered.
Oh, it's not even people, it's cars too, because I live in a part of the city where there's like, there are so many cars where you can see the engine exposed, like just the front is missing of the car. It literally is like a zombie kind of apocalypse for cars in my neighborhood, where they will be missing the entire front, where you see all of the metal, like all of the engine work beneath, or the whole the rear bumper is completely stripped off, and you could see like the axle. So there's a lot of like zombie cars driving around and going like you can hear them, like there's some kind of like noise coming up, and then they're stopped at a stoplight. I'm walking my dog, and I'm like, I'm about to get murdered, and I kind of run through it, and I go like, where do I hope they shoot me? And then I picture my dog, like, what's she gonna do? Like, I hope that I fall onto the leash, and so she can't run away. Like, I hope that if I die, I collapse upon the leash, and then it like creates like a paperweight for the leash, and then she's just kind of next to me, because I think she would just run and then get hit by a car. So I worry about that stuff a lot, and sometimes I wish they would, because I just don't want to do the whatever I have to do later that day. And I'm like, that'd be kind of cool to get to in the hospitals nearby. Like, just be a hero, like survive it, be a hero. Definitely don't want that to happen, but there's a part of my sick brain that kind of goes through like, it would be like a forced vacation.
I know, I hate this because it's something that I feel like my mom would say, but I'm like, the idea of like somebody attempting to murder you and like you survive and like just getting out of everything, but everyone is also like telling you how they feel and it's all positive. I want that.
Sure.
I want to be Munchausened.
I was kind of jealous of the people in the plane crash that flipped over who weren't harmed, because you are getting out of stuff for weeks of like, is really traumatic.
And $30,000. Wow.
Oh yeah, they got 30 or
$30K for almost dying.
No, that's 30,000 miles they got.
Oh yeah, they got miles.
Put towards another flight.
Points. It was points.
Yeah, points.
Which is 5,000 miles.
Yeah. No, you're so like I was thinking about that flight, and like I was kind of like, man, I wish our flight would kind of like flip over. I probably wouldn't. I'd get out of work for at least a week. Like, no one could be like, Nikki, we really need you to reply to this email about approving these pictures that might go up for this new date we're announcing. Like, no one would be like, we need you to follow up on that. If I'd be like, well, sorry, my plane flipped over. You know, like that would be pretty good. So I just want something like that to happen, but I don't really.
A lot of people in
shout
LA
out to people who survived that. I know that's traumatic.
In January, people's houses burned down, and they got at least that out of it.
I was on calls with them weeks late, like a week later. I was like on, calls with agents whose houses burned down, and it was so. I felt so bad for them to have to care about the mundane, aspects of my career, and being like, well, there's this script that came in, and I'm like, your house is gone, and they shouldn't have said that, but no, they were actually really nice. They were, because I said, I'm so sorry you even have to like read like a script that I might do, and they go, no, this is a good distraction, and that's a nice thing to say. But I was just like, man, if your house burned down, I would try to get out of work for a lot longer.
Yeah,
but people are passionate about work, and they do love work, and they throw themselves into it. And as someone who's like that as well, I get it. But
one of my friends' house burned down. He lives in the East Side, and he bought a house in Altadena, and he closed the house the week before the fires. Oh. And then it burned down the week after he closed on it. So it was good and bad, because he didn't have any of his stuff in the house, so he just lost the house.
Yeah.
But also, he was just if it was 1 week earlier, he wouldn't have closed on it, and it wouldn't have been his.
Yeah.
That's like when I got that apartment right before COVID that I never lived in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It just cost $8,000 a month for 12 months that I never lived in it. But not the same at all. But also, like, what's going on with insurance with those houses? Like, I haven't heard any follow up. I've heard that it's going to be impossible and it will tank the economy for those payouts to happen.
Yeah, it's something like $6 billion in damage. It's going to tank the insurance industry in the region for sure. But right now, the big thing is there's going to be civil lawsuits. There's already several different law groups that have jumped on the opportunity, have already done the research to find culpability, and are airing ads to say, is your house burned down in the Altadena fire? Well, we have already discovered culpability and we can get money for you or whatever. So that's all going to happen. And there's going to be lawsuits. I guarantee you something like the electric company is going to get sued or something like that for like a spark that started the fire on a power line.
That's the Altadena one, and then the Palisades is somebody was setting off fireworks on New Year's, and like the ember was lingering. And that guy must be so humiliated right now.
No, because anyone who would do that is incapable of feeling humility.
Totally. And he was doing it 5 days later or 6 days later. That spark didn't happen on New Year's, so it was like
the firework culture in LA is repulsive, and it should be outlawed. I cannot believe how many freaks launch fireworks on these holidays. They just ruin nature. They set our town on fire. They scare dogs. It's a repulsive habit that needs to end, and I don't agree.
Thank you.
Preach. Yeah. I got yelled at once on Twitter after I think the Lakers won the NBA championship, and I was complaining about the fireworks, and somebody was saying that this is why this is why we look at you as a gentrifier, and it's like this is part of our culture, and it's like, what are you talking about? My dog is just shaking, and it's annoying because we have a baby who's trying to sleep, and you're setting off fireworks because you guys won.
No, your dog is shaking because it's really disturbed by your racism.
That is true.
Is this a racism thing? Yeah. Is fireworks a racist?
I think it's popular in certain maybe certain communities.
Okay, well, it's got to end.
Yeah,
white people love fireworks too, though. I'm sorry.
They do.
Yeah.
I mean,
but they're not. Maybe Indiana? They're not. White people aren't celebrating things though because it's like they're always winning, so they don't need to be loud about it when it happens specifically. That's just a theory, and I don't think they always be winning because please don't mince my words. Mince my words. Christopher Mintz, please, my words.
People were setting off fireworks when Anura won on Sunday.
Oh my God. Yeah, let's talk about the Oscars when we get back right after this. Okay, so it was the Oscars on Sunday. It was I watched it I got invited to the Vanity Fair watch party, which is was so many famous people, probably 150 people, all at 12 tables, and in this room where that's where the Vanity Fair party is. After the show, that's where all the Oscar winners or people that were at the Oscar show go to after the Oscars. But we were already there. So we get in, we walk the red carpet when we go to this dinner, and it's on the big screen, and it was really fun. I was at a table with Seth Rogen and his wife, and then Olivia Wilde, who I had never met before, but is just so pretty. It's
wild.
It's hard to look at her. Almost, it's not hard to look at her, but it's you want to look at her, but you feel like you might get caught gawking, and and also she's so pretty. She's just heard she's pretty. She's so remarkably gorgeous. You don't even want to say she looks good tonight because I don't even know if there's anything I've heard in my life as much as she's probably heard. You're so beautiful. It's probably people have told me calm down, or what's wrong with you, or here's your venti latte. I don't even know what I could hear that much in my life that she has heard that. But she looked stunning, and she was so nice and so chill. Chris and I were just so enamored by how lovely and at ease, and funny and cool she was, and just really, really loved her vibe. And I was nervous to meet her because she just has been someone I wanted to be I did say I've been watching you from afar for so long, I love you. And she was really nice to me. And then who else was at our table? An actress named Megalyn, and I'm forgetting her last name. It is very long and has a lot of consonants in it, so I didn't memorize it. But she was so nice. She was
from like Eastern Europe.
I don't maybe like ethnically, but she's American.
She's like a larger Lynn. Like
Megalyn. She's actually a very tiny person, but she was so nice and so cool. Like such
Megalyn
a fun person.
Echakunwoke.
Thank you.
I don't know how to pronounce it either.
Yes, exactly. But she sat right next to me. She was amazing. Then there was a guy named Lee Eisner, I believe. Maybe his last name or his first name isn't Lee, but it was definitely Eisner. He's not related to Michael. Is it Michael Eisner?
Yeah.
And what he this guy Lee, I think his name was Lee. He had seen me. He was like, he didn't know who I was. I introduced myself at the table. He was very nice, older man, probably 70. And he was like, "Oh, I know you. I saw you at Largo on Judd Apatow's show." And that was like a set I really thought I did not do well on. And I remember being like, "Oh God, that was uncomfortable," but I'm just not going to even I'm not going to let it in. It's fine. Judd doesn't care. No one cares. It's fine. I just didn't have the best set. But he was like, "I've been talking about your set ever since to so many people." And I was like, "Oh, okay. My perception is off then." Or at least he got it. And I even addressed, I think during the set, I know that I knew I did bad because I have this joke where I talk about having suicidal thoughts, and I'm like, my life is great. I do this. I talk about like what's going on in my life, and I'm like, I still want to kill myself. And in that list, I go, I'm successful in something I love. All my friends and family are happy and healthy. I go, I usually do really well at the Largo, and they laughed really hard. They laughed really hard at that. So I knew that they were like, does she know she's not doing well? So, but anyway, he was really nice, but he worked with David Geffen. He was a lawyer for like David Geffen or for maybe Warner Brothers. I forget, like Warner Music. He discovered Prince. Prince sent in his tape, which was a reel-to-reel tape that he brought home and listened to because he was obsessive about not missing out on like all the, like maybe if the one tape he didn't listen to was going to be the biggest
Prince.
musician in the world, was going to be Prince. And so he took this home and listened to it. And he also he was dating Woody Guthrie's daughter and was staying at Woody Guthrie's house when Bob Dylan showed up on his doorstep in the 60s looking for Woody Guthrie, a kid from Minnesota, in a complete unknown. And I'm sitting at this table with this guy.
So he's like 70 or something?
Yeah, he's probably 70, but he's a good looking guy. Is his name Lee Eisner? Did you find that name? Anyone? Will you look it up?
And he's the son of a famous.
Just type in Eisner Geffen. Yeah. No, he's not. He might be a son of someone famous, but I don't think it's related to the Eric Eisner. Okay, yes. And he was so nice and had so many great stories, and we just had a great time. And then we're watching the Oscars, and who else was it? It was Lauren, and then I think that's it. That was the whole table, and Chris. And then we watched the Oscars, and we're just like laughing and commenting on it. Like, it's like I'm with like Seth Rogen is saying the funniest shit ever, under his breath kind of things. And we're all like cracking up, and we're just like it was really fun. It's really fun to watch the Oscars with a bunch of famous people who are like, and kind of like trying to read the room of like when you should be excited or like, and Alex Edelman was there as well at our table. And he was at every table.
He's always there.
I think every table had an Alex Edelman. But he was at our table too, and that was fun. And but then the whole, it was a star-studded room. Mick Jagger was at our party, and then he went to the Oscars, and all of a sudden he was presenting, and we were all like, wasn't he just here? It's like across town, by the way. It's like 30 minutes away at least. And then he comes back to the party.
He didn't want to be in the
He was sitting at a table
audience.
right next to me. It's crazy.
That's wild. But it does
so
make
cool.
sense because when he appeared on the Oscars, he was in constant movement. So he obviously sped walk across town. Didn't want to break his stride.
He looked great. He was cool, but it was cool. And then we and before the show there was like a lounge kind of area before the dinner. A lounge area, and then they were like, it's time to go in for dinner. So we were all like, after the red carpet, we're just kind of all hanging out watching like the show. There's a big screen, and Kevin Bacon and his wife Kira Sedgwick like came and were like sat next to me and were like, we want to sit with you. You killed it on the Globe. They were so nice.
1 degree from
now.
Kevin Bacon. Yeah.
Oh my God. And I'm right there. Kevin Bacon introduced himself to Chris as Kev. And we loved that. And they're going to come see me
Kev.
at my New York show at the Beacon.
Hell
and
yeah.
so we met at this initial party, and then like 3 parties later, we were leaving the party to go home, and we saw Kevin coming back into the party. And I go, bye, Kevin. And he was like, okay, I'll see you at the Beacon. He goes, well, you won't see me, but we'll be there. And I like that acknowledgement. He's like, well, we're going to be in the audience, so you won't see us. But I was like, well, please come backstage. But they were so freaking nice.
Wow, what a cool down to earth guy.
So down to earth. They were telling us about how they met, and they've been together for, like 40 years or something like that. Like she was so nice. Patricia Clarkson is a giant fan of mine. I didn't
Whoa.
obviously know who she is, but she came up to me. It was so, I'm sorry this is like a brag sesh, but I was just talking to Anya about
we want to know.
because Anya sent me a video today of Patricia Clarkson talking about Harvey Weinstein, and I hadn't even told Anya that Patricia Clarkson is this woman that came up to me during the party and said all these nice things. So I got this message. So I was just talking about her. That's why it came to mind. But she cstand to me and was like, you need to understand. She was like, I'm Patricia Clarkson. She was like, I'm no Meryl Streep, but I'm right behind her. And she was like, I am obsessed with you. I talk about you to everyone I know. All of my girlfriends know about you. You should be running this goddamn town. Like, she was so great, so emphatic. Like, I don't think I've ever met anyone that is that big of a fan of me. I really
That's so
don't.
cool.
I was like, you just made my night. She was so cool. I just loved her. And then Bill Maher was there. It was nice to see him. And then I went up to the guy from the White Lotus, Patrick Schwarzenegger, who plays Saxon.
That's from last time when you were kind of like, I'm not going to go up to people. So now you're going up.
Chris
and
told me
schmoozing.
I had to. So we were about to leave the Vanity Fair party to go to the Chapel Roan performance at the Elton John party. Because she was going on at 9:45 and it was like 9:30, and I'm like, we gotta go. And he's like, I want to challenge you. You need to go up to one person and say you love them. And I was like, I just don't know. The Jeremy Strong was right there. I was gonna go up to him, but he doesn't seem like someone who was even like. I just feel like that would be a awkward interaction for him. I just don't think people care. I don't, especially people that are that famous and like, it's like the Olivia Wilde pretty thing. Jeremy Strong knows he's the best actor. He doesn't care if Nikki Glaser.
I have a feeling it depends. I have a feeling Jeremy Strong would lap that up. I think he would like it, especially after he lost. I mean, I think someone coming up to him saying like, you're my favorite actor, you're such an amazing actor.
That's what I was going to
want to say. Yeah, like that's good for him.
I think it's why he does it. To be honest, like
really,
yeah,
he seems like Anya. Like he doesn't do it for the attention. He does it to like get a message across.
Why did he wear the Dr. Seuss outfit at the Globes then?
He wanted so much. Like in every single one of those like huge biographical articles that people always do on Jeremy Strong. That's what he did, like, growing up, is, like, he, like, approached Al Pacino and was like, you're my hero. And then, like, he was like, can I study under you?
Do unto others, yeah.
Yeah. So I think he wants that a little bit.
Well, you did note that, Sean noted that when Kieran Culkin complimented Jeremy Strong after winning and he lost, Jeremy did not respond with a smile, essentially.
Yeah. I have so much to say on that I can't, but I maybe wouldn't have either.
Yeah.
I might have been complimenting that performance of his as well if I went up to him. I like someone who's not going to give someone what they want just because, like that's also the Jeremy Strong I fear is like the one that's just honest with his reaction.
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to pretend to be flattered if he's not. And so, like, I don't want him to kind of seem
felt
annoyed
like it was
by
maybe
me.
like perfunctory.
I like him too much. Yeah, and I also like that's what this part, like he's getting it 1,000 times a night. He was a nominee. Like, what's one more girl being like, by the way, you're my favorite actor? And like, I don't even think he probably knows who I am. It just doesn't even. I'm not trying to devalue myself by being like it doesn't matter what I think, but. It really doesn't. Even if I was super duper famous, I just don't think one more person, even though I do enjoy that, I don't know why I think that other people wouldn't. I don't know what it is. But I will say that I did see Patrick Schwarzenegger as we were walking out and I go, okay, this is my one. Because he was just entering, so I could tell like I don't think he was at the Oscars. So I'm like, oh, he just got to this party. He hasn't been inundated with people telling him how great he is yet. He kind of just broke on the scene with White Lotus. He hasn't been around forever hearing how great he is for over and over. Here's my chance. He's young too, so he probably knows who I am a little bit more than a Jeremy Strong would. And I was like,
31 years old.
I love you. And my enthusiasm for White Lotus right now is like, I didn't see Jeremy Strong's performance in The Apprentice. If I had, I think I would have felt justified in going up to him to like talk about the thing he's nominated for. But me being like, Kendall Roy, like it just is like kind of, and that's really all I remember him from. And from, what's the one? The Money movie with not Matt Damon, but
The Big Short.
The Big Short. He's great in The Big Short.
Those
are the only performances I know, and I feel like that's not enough. And his
Short,
GQ,
so
his 10 favorite things. That's one of my favorite videos.
I love every article about Jeremy Strong. I almost have a Google alert for Jeremy Strong.
I think
he's so interesting.
He really is.
And yes, I don't feel like. The weird thing is, I really feel like I could be friends with Kieran Culkin. I feel like there's a similar vibe.
Yeah.
We're very annoying. Everyone dislikes us. We love our
everyone
wives.
loves Kieran. You are very Kieran. But Kieran also, I just keep sending you Sean Jesse Eisenberg interviews about Kieran because I can't tell if he hates him or not.
Oh my God.
It's so fascinating to hear Jesse talk about casting Kieran after like not ever even meeting him. And then Jesse said that he's worked so hard for months and months with everyone on set, the crew, the cast, like trying to get to know them, trying to like endear himself to these people he's going to be directing. And like, he wrote the piece that he's going to be acting with. And then Kieran showed up one day on set and is better friends with every single person on the set and like than he ever did with all the months of work he put in. And some people are just like that. They're just like,
that's kind of what the movie's about.
Yeah, that is a good point.
It's so interesting. I love every single one of these interviews because it does feel like he broke Jesse Eisenberg.
I love Jesse Eisenberg. He is so funny, and I really like the way he talks. I think he's so intelligent, and he really uses great words, but he doesn't seem pretentious about it. Like I've become I was already a fan of his acting, but I think I'm such a fan from watching him in interviews. Ever since I just don't like the whole acceptance speech where where he keeps telling his wife to have babies, or if I'm going to win this, then we're going to have more babies. And it's like, I know she's down for it. I know it's between them, it's not weird, but I just don't like this whole thing of men work and earn and women just make more of the man. I just don't and I know that's not where it's coming from. I think I love Kieran. I don't mean to do all these caveats. To me, it just is I just hate looking at a wife being like, yes, oh, I'm so proud of you. I'll keep having your babies and putting my body through this. And it's so easy or something. Or it's like a gift to her. If I win, you get to have another baby for me. It's why is that equal payoff? I don't get it.
I think that is it is insane to share that at the Oscars, especially when that was a plot, a subplot on 30 Rock. That's why Tracy was trying to EGOT, was because his wife said she would give him a daughter. And it's so silly to even do that and to bring that up in a real scenario. I was just I didn't see
his acceptance speech this time. Did he mentioned it, right? Because I know he did it at the last year or something at the Globes.
Yeah, and it was all she was like, we could have another kid if you win the Oscar. And then he brought it up again. And it was just I just feel like that's a private thing. I know it's being silly and being so free. Yeah,
I don't think that they don't deserve my judgment for that. But I think for me, because I'm just so over, you have to, women just have kids and that's all you do. And also I think it just hit me the wrong way. But
he's an open book, and that's why people like him.
At least he didn't start singing at the end of his acceptance speech. That was so bad.
Amelia. Yeah, that was.
Can we go back to you guys watching, because I want to know what was your reaction when you saw Adam Sandler?
Oh, so that was on the red carpet. So we got there a little bit late, and so when I got there, Chris and I arrive. I'm doing interviews with, E.T. and Extra and all these. Yeah, the alien. It was really one-sided conversation. He didn't have a lot to
Wearing
say.
who?
Yeah, I talked into his finger. And then I was doing all these like interviews, and then the monologue started, and that was like the most important thing for us to see. We love Conan. Chris is producing the Mark Twain Prize for Conan O'Brien. Like, we wanted to see Conan's monologue, and it's starting. Yeah. And so in between interviews, Chris is like, it's Conan starting. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I gotta do like more. I'm sorry, because you go down the line and these people go like, Nikki, please, like, and they're longing faces. And I kind of know some of these people at this point, and I felt bad. So I was like, and he goes, I'm just going to pull it up on my phone. So Chris is watching the live stream of the thing behind, like, while we're on the red carpet, kind of like in the wings of the carpet. And then I finished this interview, and now it's time to go to the part of the carpet where you get your picture taken. But there's kind of like a gap between the two areas of the interviews and then the picture. And Chris is like, before we go do the picture, why don't we just like finish watching Conan's monologue? Because it had just kind of started a minute before. So then we are just looking at his phone. I wish someone would have been recording us so badly when it got to the part with Adam Sandler, because we were kind of like, this is like kind of a similar, like they're talking to Adam Sandler. We were both kind of like, is this, I almost felt bad. Like, wait, did we do something that they had planned to do? Like, was it us? I don't know. I was just starting to feel like, oh no, like, what's this going to be? And then when I just had a feeling when he started running up right before he said goodbye, I was like, is this about to happen? Like, that would be so insane. And then when he just grabbed him and said, shadow me, Chris and I just jaws on the floor, like both like just frozen, like Edward Munch scream painting. Like, both of us looked at each other like open. And then a guy from like the crew at one of the ET shows or whatever was like, yeah, that just happened, Nikki. That just happened. And we were like, oh my God. And then Chris's phone just started, like all the text messages started coming. Yeah. Like,
I was getting text messages.
Bring. It was crazy. And we were happier than, we just got a house, and we were literally like a day before, we were happier about this by far than buying a house.
What?
Yeah, we bought a house.
Congrats. Oh, you're just going to throw that in there in the middle of this story?
I don't want to talk about it because I'm kind of stressed out by the whole thing. Not because I don't want the house, not because I don't like the house. But
it's very stressful. It's a
I just don't. People keep going like, what are you going to do with this room? And what are you going to do with this? How would you do this room? And like, where are you going to put this thing? And I'm just like, my sister, we just were at the house, and my sister goes, so would you maybe like paint this? And I was like, Lauren, I don't care. And she just laughed and she goes, oh, I forgot. And I was like, I don't, and I'm not trying to be like, I don't care because I'm cool and like paint colors don't matter to me. I literally don't even understand how you could care. It's already painted a good color. Like, unless it was like a neon green brat, then I would just keep it. But no, if it was like, unless it was some gaudy color, it would never occur to me to change a room from taupe to an olive green. Like, that would never cross my goddamn mind. And I am so embarrassed it doesn't, like, because it's so important to other people, and everyone else seems more invested in my house than I am. And I'm starting to feel really insecure about it. So I don't really want to talk about it because I just don't. My dad's like, so you're going to have to furnish this. Is a big house. Going to have to furnish it. And I go, Dad, I'm not talking about it. He's like, why don't you even want to talk about it? I'm like, because I don't care. Like, I don't know what furniture to put in. I'm burdened by if I get used stuff or if I get new stuff. And if I get new stuff, then I have to like take it with me the rest of my life. And then I have to take good care of it. And I don't know what kind to get. And then you have to make it match different things because there's color matching now that I'm aware of. And it has to match my undertones of my skin. And I can't be bothered with it. I just wrote Chris today. I'm like, I don't think I'm meant to own a house. Like, I can't handle this because I don't like the conversations around it.
Well, what if you didn't have any conversations around it and it was just like Chris's purview to take care of the house?
Because then there would be pictures of like hunting dogs up, like paintings of like old paintings from his family, which I do want in our house. But like, he has a different aesthetic
up in my apartment for 5 years.
He has a different aesthetic than me, and I do like his aesthetic. I like it mixed, but like there are some like. It's the classic thing of like, I get mad after the fact when I've not put in any I've let someone just do the work, and then I go, I hate this, and they go, well, we asked you if you wanted to contribute, and it's just me doing more of that. So I know that I will have to contribute to, and he said he's going to make it very easy for me, that everything will happen on the weekends. I won't have to deal with I don't want to have to deal with plumbers. I don't want to have to deal with electricians, and I will forget to offer them water. I will feel so rude in retrospect. It's a lot
of work. It's a lot of work, but in the end, it's you have control over the situation, which is nice. Like at no point is a landlord going to tell you, I've got to come into your apartment at 5 a.m. on this Saturday to fix the wall.
No one's ever done that to me. No one's ever done that to me in this apartment. It's never happened to me in the history of my life at apartments where a landlord has come in and made my life hell. It's I like renting, and I know, I don't know what's wrong with me. I just wish I was a different girl sometimes, and I cared about cabinets and our kitchen is so big.
Yeah.
It's so offensive. I should truly give the space to a company to come in and make food for homeless people or something. I feel like it is a literally waste.
Are either of you guys into cooking? I know you don't really cook, right?
Chris could be, but I just don't. He's like, I'll cook for us. I'll use that kitchen. And I'm like, but then you're going to be cooking all day. And then you won't want to hang out. And then we can't watch TV as easily because the kitchen doesn't have a TV. I like when the kitchen and the TV room are combined.
Sure. You got a little, you got a counter and you can see through. It's an open floor plan.
Yes. So if he was cooking while I'm watching TV, then that makes then we can talk and but we'll figure it out. It's going to be great. I am underslept and overly critical right now. Nothing seems good right now because sleep is so fucking important.
It's the number one thing.
Yes. My body was aching so bad yesterday. I was losing everything. I would put the things in the weirdest places. I forgot I was literally wasted yesterday. It was like someone was walking around wasted all day long because I was so tired.
People say that love is the number one thing and they make the heart, and that's not true. It's sleep. Sleep is the number one thing.
We should be doing this.
We should be doing that. You can't love if you're tired.
No, you can't. I mean, when you're tired, it is just you're the worst person, the worst version of yourself across the board.
Hungry and tired are the two things. Yeah, and stupid. And I was so dumb. But people love not to sleep though. I feel like most people in my life don't sleep. Everyone, I think I get more sleep than almost everyone I know.
Well, you need to just get the amount of sleep that you are used to getting, and then you'll be functioning the way you are.
Yeah.
Can we go back to Jesse Eisenberg real quick? Because I just want to shout out Jesse Eisenberg. So Jesse Eisenberg, do you know where he lives?
He used to live in Bloomington, right?
Yeah,
he doesn't anymore.
He doesn't anymore. Well, he moved to Bloomington, Indiana, because his wife's from there, and he lived there during COVID. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then during A Real Pain, he's repping an Indiana University hat almost the entire movie. It's the most whatever. What's it called? It's the most
representation.
I use ever gotten, except for the movie.
But what about the
Hoosiers.
movie? Yeah, I was going to say the movie.
That was about high school.
What about the bicycle movie?
Breaking Away. Yeah, maybe Breaking Away. Since Breaking Away.
And listen, all the Jared Fogle articles mention Bloomington.
That's true. That's where he got his start walking
I'm sure a biopic
subway.
is coming. He wasn't wearing an IU hat.
Jesse Eisenberg's from East Brunswick, New Jersey, which is 20 minutes away from me. His sister's Pepsi Eisenberg from the Pepsi commercials.
What?
Do you remember? You remember the little girl, the Pepsi girl, with the curly hair?
The little girl with the curly hair?
Yeah, that's Jesse Eisenberg's little sister.
Oh my God. Dimply, little, adorable, curly-haired girl with Jesse Eisenberg eyes.
Jesse Eisenberg eyes.
It is her.
I've been
and
calling
his cousin
her Pepsi
is
Eisenberg
Jamie Eisenberg
forever, and no one knows what I'm talking
Pepsi Eisenberg
about.
is so funny. Wow, that's a really good little trivia. I had no idea. And I'm guessing she still doesn't act.
She doesn't.
Because why would we not know who she is?
She's
Pepsi,
just proud of her big brother.
That is so cute. Okay, that's really good to know. Do we have to go to break?
His cousin
What's
is Jamie
going on?
Eisenberg, who is a CBS Sports fantasy analyst for football.
No way, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it just keeps going. The Eisenberg family runs deep.
Okay, well, let's go to break and unpack more of this when we get back. Just kidding.
we talk about your high school?
Oh yeah. I was inducted into the Kirkwood High School Hall of Fame on Saturday, I think. Yeah, Saturday my parents went and they accepted my award on behalf of moi, and because I was in Vancouver with Sean. And we were landing in Vancouver and there was a coyote on the runway, by the way. That really happened.
Whoa.
We were about to touch down. I was sitting next to Sean on his flight.
Truly
like
horrendous.
Feet from touching down.
Like we were this close to the ground, and then we just went back up.
And it went, oh my gosh! And we went back up, and like that makes me nervous. Not because we went back up, like it makes me nervous because a plane going back up means things aren't. That's not the plan. And so whenever you have a plane doing something that's not the plan, you just hope everyone's communicating in the right way, that there's not going to be any like collisions, you know, like if your plane goes by plan, like our plane landed on time, like I'm not worried about a collision, like things are on time. But when things are just starting to, that's when I was like, oh no, like now we were talking about like how after the DC crash, a new fear has been unlocked in flying a plane. When you're on a plane, like I don't care at all about crashes anymore, of like a malfunction and then like the plane just going, Row. I am literally only scared of collisions now. That's all there is. Didn't even know I was supposed to be scared of that. I'm always scared on the runway now. Like the runway isn't safe, even when you're on the tarmac, like on the ground, not safe. Like it's just, and then, but that us picking back up, and then they told us 5 minutes later, there was a coyote on the runway, and I go, coyote, and it was. He said coyote like he was an old ranch hand.
Yeah, like he's in True Grit. He's like worried about
Sean was like John Wayne as our pilot.
Wasn't it who you want to be your pilot?
A coyote.
I want all my pilots to say coyote. If my pilot says coyote, I'm like, you don't know how to fly this thing.
Yeah, that is a pilot way to talk. But Sean made the hilarious observation that they were doing the trolley experiment like on our plane. Like, you know what the trolley thing is, like if you pull the lever, you kill 3 people instead of 4 or whatever. So it's like, does it count? That you like he did that with like either you kill a coyote or a plane of people, and he like chose to sacrifice a plane of people for a coyote, even though I would argue that if we hit the coyote that would be bad for us. But
he was an animal lover.
Yeah, and I don't stand by that. You know, there is a bar, and I would sacrifice a coyote for a plate of people. But
it's not a dog, it's not a cat, it's not like a baby squirrel.
I think it's a combo of a dog and a cat and a baby squirrel. They're crazy. I felt bad for that coyote. Like that instantly was my thought of like this poor thing that's just like looking around at this barren tarmac trying to find any fucking food. Probably just gonna get shot eventually. So sad. But yeah. So anyway, we were in Vancouver when I got inducted into the thing, and so my parents went.
Like, did they prepare a speech for it? Were they like
no,
really?
They read my statement.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and I think that was that's the way they wanted it. Because I had forgotten to thank. I made a video too, and I forgot to thank someone really important in the video. And so I was like, fuck, I was going to have to like make a new video and have it cut into the video and be like, I forgot this one guy. And so my parents were able to read that part. But it was, it was like sweet, and they were really proud. And they said that everyone else, like a bunch of people were being inducted. And they said everyone's speeches like referenced, you know, oh, I thought I was special until I realized Nikki Glaser's on this one. So I'm nothing. But then I did get a lot, like they said there was a lot of mentions of me being dirty. And how like, oh, if you can, you know, don't watch her act if you're around grandma. Like there's a lot of that going on.
Grandma loves her.
And or like get the kids out of the room or whatever. And like how ironic it is that this is like a high school is going to have a plaque of like this disgusting comedian who's going to hell. I don't think they like especially said that, but then my parents said that 2 people in their speeches said fuck. And how it was like kind of like really not the tone of it, and I'm like, yet I'm the one that gets told that I'm constantly inappropriate, even though I think fuck is a fine thing to put in a speech, no matter where you are. But
how many people got inducted into this class?
I think it was probably like 10 or so.
So like every year, 10 people get inducted, or
yeah, something like that, maybe 7 or 8. Yeah, I forget exactly. Oh, I was supposed to give a shout out to someone who listens to the podcast, Rory, and then who's the other one? Robin listens to the podcast. She's a local in St. Louis. I think she was inducted in Maybe she was someone that was I don't know what it was. I'm so sorry, Robin. My parents just said that they met you, that you're a huge fan. And then your son, Rory, was like, she listens all the time. And then my parents were like, we're going to tell Nikki, Rory said hi. And he thought that was cool. And I was like, okay, I'll give Rory a shout out. So shout out, Rory. What up? Skibbity toilet. No cap. I heard you have Riz, whatever, you get it. Go get a Beastable and fucking celebrate that someone said your name on a podcast. Hell yeah, dude.
So now, do they have your picture up like in the hallway of this high school? Is there like a special area for this?
There's a special area that has my name, but I believe the picture is not put up. I think it was like on a poster that they had, like, lining the halls. But there were so many teachers at it. And I during my speech, I just listed every teacher that I liked at all that was nice to me and like was like a joy to be around, because I was just like, on the off chance that they hear this, that would be cool. And one of the teachers that I included, who was a physics teacher, that really made me understand physics, and I don't think I would have any grasp of it. And I have some grasp. Like, I literally don't even know, like, I remember taking the subject and being intimidated by it, and Mr. Barton, like, really made it accessible.
Yeah,
he made
you mentioned him before.
He was awesome. And I put him in the speech thinking he is long gone. Like, he was a young guy at the time. I'm like, he's changed school districts. He's probably got out of the business. They wrote me and were like, Mr. Barton's still there, and we're so excited to like show him this video. And that to me was so cool, because like, he's not going to remember me as a student, but hopefully that will give him some kind of validation for I think it's just important that no matter what subject you teach, whether or not your students are interested or even good at the subject, you can have the most profound effect on a student, because all my favorite teachers were not my favorite subjects. They were actually subjects I was quite bad at, and they still made an impact on me about who the person I wanted to be and all that stuff. So that was really fun to give those shout outs, and then to find out they were still around to hear it. And then, my teacher, my favorite teacher of all time, Madam Kalfas, she wrote me and said, I was at the ceremony and thank you so much for saying those nice things about me. And she said that, like, sadly, we lost Mr. Platt so young. And I'm like, no, I found out Mr. Platt died. That was kind of sad. But they were apparently, yeah, it was like a really great ceremony. My parents were so cute and proud to be there. I love them so much. It was so nice that they were like, it's just nice that they're so psyched to like celebrate all these things. And they write, I was on Kelly and Mark yesterday, and they just wrote me the nicest text about, you're so good on these shows. Oh my God. True. They're just so celebratory. And Noah, you wrote me the nicest thing about that too. Like when I do a Kelly and Mark, like, not a lot of people see it. I don't get a lot of feedback from fans, because it's like a different, it's a different
you are
demo.
So good on daytime TV.
Yeah.
So nice. So good. It's so nice.
I watched it on YouTube yesterday, and you were really great. And I was shocked that it was just, they did it at the place the Oscars were.
Yeah, that was confusing.
Crazy, wasn't it?
So wait,
wild.
when was this?
Final thought. This was literally Kelly and Mark tapes. They take over the stage at midnight, and they bring in all their people, and they redo the stage to bring in Kelly and Mark. And they've done it for like 3 years in a row, right after the Oscars. And so it was very confusing of what I was to wear, because you dress a certain way for daytime TV when it's in a studio, but not when it's in like the Oscars Dolby Theater stage.
Right.
And so it was crazy to walk out and see a whole room of fans at literally 6 a.m. I got there at 4, had to wake up at 3.
Who was in the audience?
Fans of Kelly and Mark. And I go, this is a paid audience, right? Like, you can't, I understand the show has fans, but not at 6 a.m. on a Monday in LA for a huge theater to fill up.
They filled it up?
They filled it up. It was packed.
You're probably so excited, because if you get there early enough, you could kind of be sitting in the same seat that like Timothée Chalamet was sitting in like 8 hours before.
Oh my God, that's such a good point. That would have been so good to point out. I wish I would have thought of that. That's so funny to be like, do you know that Timothée Chalamet was sitting right where you were? Kendall was right, or Kylie was right there for some of it. I think she got up during when his ex-girlfriend came out to present.
It was just so crazy to watch, because like I saw you do Kelly and Mark in New York, and it's like, a TV studio, so it's tight and small, and this is a cavern. Like, it is like
huge. I didn't know where to play, so because I was like on a stage where like it's kind of similar to the performances I'm doing now in these big theaters. So I like kept like, I was talking to Kelly and Mark, but then I would like do it to the audience. So I was like, when am I supposed to do the camera, the audience? Like, it probably looks, I don't want to watch it because it probably looks insane, because I didn't know where to talk.
Looks
and
perfect.
It was
Perfect.
Thank
You were supposed to play to the audience.
I went big to the audience, but sometimes when you do TV, you're not supposed to play to the audience. Like it's like a waste too, because they're just there for sound of laughter. And if you want to look good on TV, you're supposed to not do it. And so sometimes I have to like ignore the audience, even though I always want to play to them. But as a stand-up, you always want to play to an audience, so it's kind of confusing. But yeah, so I didn't sleep. I went right from the Oscars parties, which were seeing Chappell Roan and Elton John was incredible. So glad I went to that, even though it was like a different group of people. Like you go to that and it was like I went from like the most exclusive cool party with the most famous people in the world to like a different, like I thought it was also going to be that exclusive, but it was a different crowd. That was the party that I should have been at, to be honest with you. Like it was more my speed of people. A lot of people that like, I gotta say, like, can everyone just like, if you see, I'm not even that famous, but people I was pretty famous for this party. Let me just say, like I was, I was probably one of the more famous people at this party. And that is not bragging. I'm not thinking I'm cool, but I could just tell when I walked in, people were like, whoa, like you just get that sense. And like, I am just trying to everyone's trying to get close to the stage to just be close to the stage, but like, they're not even like singing along. And if you know Chappell Roan at all, like she doesn't want you just like standing there. If you're not going to do the hot to go dance, get hot to go home. Hot to go home is what I should have said.
Pokemon go to the polls.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. So I was just like trying to get close. And like a second people would see me next to them, it wasn't everyone, but I guess they were a little drunk too. They would like be aware of me and keep looking behind to watch me enjoying it. And then I feel like me having a really good time and singing along, it becomes like I'm being watched. So then I feel like I'm performing, but I'm also like, wait, no, I'm just having a good time, but do people think that I'm performing? Like, I don't want anyone to think that I was like singing along and dancing because I think I'm cool or something. So I just, and these people are not cool about it at all. I know what it's like to be like, to see someone that you might be like, oh my God, this person's right next to me. Be cool. Sneak a picture all you want, but dim your screen first. Don't like keep turning back to see if they're having a good time and looking. I was so uncomfortable by this one man who would not stop looking at me, and every second was just like, did she laugh at that? Is she laughing at that? Is she looking at that? It was so weird.
Whoa.
It gave me a sense of like what actually famous people deal with, and it is people are just be a little bit more discreet. I just don't understand people just gawking. There's the same thing that happened when I was first around someone famous, Amy Schumer, when she blew up that summer. We were checking into a hotel, and the girl next to us was whispering to her boyfriend, that's Amy Schumer. Amy Schumer's right next to us, but really loud whispers. And I go, she can hear you. I like was so annoyed by it. I go, do you think she can't hear you? I go, we're not in a zoo. I go, she's not on TV. She literally can hear you. And she was like, Nick, Jesus. And I was like, I'm just, because I was witnessing it so much that weekend that I was like, what is wrong with people? Because I am those people. I get excited by celebrities, but just you can text your friend next to you. You can get the app that is called Big, and you can write text on that and then show it to them and go, Amy Schumer's next to us. Dim your screen when you take a picture. Turn off your flash. Like, there are ways to capture and exploit celebrities just as much as I would want to that aren't obvious. God, wake up. People just like, no, like, have you ever looked in a mirror? You exist. You're a person that other people can see. It's just so it was confounding to me, and it made me uncomfortable, and I wanted to get the fuck out of there.
Wait, I don't get it. Are we supposed to look in mirrors or not?
Yeah.
No,
we were supposed to.
I was just doing a callback, but it was rough.
No, I will say, as somebody, I've only really ever done this once where like it blew my mind that a celebrity, like I was at like a dive bar in LA and Kirsten Dunst was there. Yeah. And I literally couldn't stop talking about it. It like broke my brain where I couldn't
I
talk
know
about
you though, Sean.
Else.
You weren't saying it within earshot of her and its audible tone.
I was whispering
it
and
into
then
her
every
ear.
time I was trying to be funny, I was being really loud. So like Kirsten does be like, "Who is this Mac?"
That doesn't bother me at all. We would all do that. I want to be very clear. I love when people ask for photos. I love when people point at me and are like whispering to their friends. Like that really doesn't bother me. It's like when you are close to me and you're not even talking to me. You're acting like I'm an object. So if you were to talk to me and go, "I love you. It's so good to meet you," like that's fine. But like acting like that celebrities are, and this is obviously like, who cares, celebrities? Oh, it's life is so hard. Like, even I'm reading all of these articles about like Demi Moore deserved that, and poor Demi. I'm just like, she's fine, you guys. She's gonna be okay. I know it does suck, and it would have been very cool to see an older woman who was in this movie about being an aging woman in Hollywood and how it sucks, and like she kind of Margaret Qualley kind
Saldana?
of. No,
Mikey Madison.
Who
Mikey
I think
Madison.
absolutely deserved it as well. Like, it kind of is ironic that she did a movie about being replaced by a younger version of herself, and Mikey Madison is arguably kind of she's like the next big ingenue, and Demi Moore's always been called a popcorn actress, which I didn't hear about until Demi Moore told us all that she was called that. Like, what does that mean?
I think it just means that your movies make money and that but you're not like
good?
a serious yeah, it's so much better.
I thought it was that they get paid in popcorn.
No. That's Lord Michael.
Am I thinking of elephants?
That's me on my rider. Yeah.
Can I just say quickly, for Honora, shout out to my friend Sebastian Canelli, who was in Honora, and now
As what?
He was the tow truck driver.
Cool.
He was the tow truck driver in Honora towards the end of the movie. And so now he's in a movie that won Best Picture, an Oscar for Best Picture.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That's so cool. Mikey Madison,
amazing.
by the way, I really like her vibe. She just seems like a really nice person. And I am able to clock this. I think I'm better than most people at seeing which celebrities are real good people and which aren't. And I heard a story this weekend about one that is not a good person, and I was really bummed out about it. I can't remember who it was. I don't even think I'd tell you if I could remember, but I was like, man, I actually thought that person was cool, and they're not. But Mikey Madison just seems like she really loves acting. She's she's gracious, she's grateful, she's humble. I like her vibe. Her speech wasn't like Adrian Brody, 9 minutes long, self-indulgent, throwing his gum at his wife, who used to be married to Harvey Weinstein. Like, hasn't she been through enough? Like, shout out to Adrian Brody because he laughed at my joke at the Golden Globes and I loved it.
Nice.
And he had a good sense of humor about himself, but that speech was too long.
Self-indulgent. Someone pointed out on Twitter that Adrian Brody's like the Eli Manning, where he's won two big games, and then everything else is just interceptions, and it really is the truth. But Adrian Brody, great actor. Listen to when they start playing you off. Like they're doing that not just to hurt your
guys' texts cracked me upwards. I was one of you who was like, "Wow, I didn't even know you could do that." But like, why did we think we couldn't? Like.
Right.
Like, why did we all thought he was going to get shot or something if he didn't get off stage, but you can just tell the orchestra stop and they'll all quiet down. Like, that was literally insane. And then him throwing the gum at his wife, like, everyone was disgusted by that. I really wasn't actually disgusted by it. Like, I thought it was kind of cute. Like, they don't care about germs. And she's like, yeah, like, and it's like this Oscar winner throwing his gum. It kind of like brings it back down to earth. But I do have to say, like, when certain actors, there were a couple that won awards that night. I thought Mikey Madison was just herself. She was just a normal person, grateful to win, in shock, and all those things. Some of them, the other ones, I'm like, is this a monologue? Is this an audition for the next thing you're doing? Like, I don't trust Adrian Brody being emotional because he's an actor. Like, it just seemed like acting to me. And maybe that's just because I'm not aware of his acting style, and maybe it's not at all like it. And maybe he's allowed to get really profound and emotional during that. And of course you would. But there was one other speech that I was just like, come on, this is like, I'm watching an audition. It seems scripted and it seems way too emotional, and let's all just be more real. But I don't think they can.
Yeah,
I don't think they can be real, because if they're real, they have no control and they need a script in order to be good.
In order to be a really excellent actor, you kind of have to have no identity. I think that's my theory.
And you have to just be like, oh, yeah. So, like, when you are allowed to speak, you have to have some kind of plan to play a character of sorts.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's some actor who talked about that like that's a good actor who said, like, I'm retiring from acting, or maybe it was Daniel Day-Lewis who said, I need to figure out maybe it wasn't. I don't want to put this
what
on
I
him.
am.
Yeah, like I have been a different person for my entire life, and it takes from you every time. Because that person, like maybe even Leonardo DiCaprio said this after The Revenant. Because like every time you play that character, the character doesn't leave you. It takes a part of you and then gets absorbed into your being. And the more you do that, the less and less your core being becomes, and the more you become these other people. And so at a certain point, you have to be like, wait a second, who am I even? If you're good. That's how
I don't want to sleep inside of a bear carcass anymore.
Yeah. Do you think Tim Allen felt that way after doing the Santa Claus?
I
think so.
Okay. We'll talk more about Oscars. I want to talk about how well Conan did and stuff like that tomorrow on the show. We didn't cover it all, but we covered a lot. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for listening to the show. We will see you tomorrow. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Noah. Don't be cut. Bye.
Bye.